Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about Lamar Jackson and is he ever going to get a Super Bowl ring? And the reason why I say that is because we've seen him in the past about 6 seasons here in the NFL, and we've been watching him play. He gets to the playoffs. He's had the #1 seed twice, and basically only 2 playoff wins in his entire career so far in 6 seasons. And I realize he has a lot of time left to win playoff games, get back to the Super Bowl, maybe do some great things. But the question that we've always said about Lamar Jackson was maybe he just doesn't have the talent. He got the talent. Or maybe he doesn't have the right coaches. He's had different offensive coordinators. Tom Munka came in last year. The offense really thrived last year with the offense. He had questions of, does he have the receivers? Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham Jr., he had them last year, and they still couldn't do shit in the playoffs. So what I want to do is I kind of want to just go through, kind of talk about the team, talk about the way the playoff game went here a couple weeks ago in the AFC title game. Was there opportunities? Was this Lamar Jackson's fault? Was this coaching's fault? Was this somebody else's fault on the team? The reason why they haven't been able to win games. And then where does the Ravens go from here? Are they going to be able to just stick with Lamar Jackson throughout the next 10, 15 years? Is he going to be the guy? Is he ever going to get him a Super Bowl, etc.? Basically, we're just going to talk about it all. So without further ado, if you're going to enjoy it, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. But without further ado, let's get into it. All right, first up, talking about the AFC title game. Let's kind of just quickly kind of go through and talk about Lamar Jackson and kind of how they did. Lamar Jackson didn't have a god-awful game. He had a bad game. That's what I'll say. You look at the stats and you would have said, oh, 20 for 37. He probably did okay, but he realistically did really bad. A lot of those like passing yards and a lot of those pass attempts was mainly from the fourth quarter where they were just having to chuck the ball all the time. Lamar could have played a better game. I will say that. I will agree on that he needed to play better. That game was just a very ugly game for him. You look around some of the other star, I guess you could say star receivers. Zay Flowers, he did good. Take away that giant 54-yard catch, you're looking at what, 4 catches for like 40-something yards, so not the greatest thing in the world. And then you take away the other catch, the touchdown catch, that one was like 30-40 yards. Right there, you're looking at almost like 80 yards coming straight off his stat line for about 3 catches. Not really anything there. Odell Beckham Jr., he was signed for like what, $14-15 million a year for the year annually this year. Correct me in the comments. He was signed to be basically like the #1, a wide receiver 1, the big star, and he didn't deliver. 3 catches, 22 yards, didn't do anything. Like he didn't really show up until the fourth quarter where he made, I think, 2 catches in the fourth quarter. The whole first half, the whole first 3 quarters, he was MIA. Rashad Bateman, he's supposed to be this big body receiver able to go down the seams, make big catches. 1 catch, 2 yards, excuse me. Mark Andrews, I'm giving a slight pass to him because he is coming back from injury. So in that game, he wasn't really able to do much. Now, the big thing that I'm going to judge the team on, and reason why I might actually say this is not Lamar Jackson's fault for losing this game, was because of the run game. There was no run game in this game at all. And it's sad to say because 17-7, you look at that and in my mind, I'm looking at, okay, it's only 2 scores. Where it's like halftime, 17-7 still. You got the ball back. Let's go down here and let's run the ball, put the foot down, and let's just punch it down their throat. What do the Ravens do? It felt like they just abandoned the run game, went straight past the whole time. And I'm going to be brutally honest. If you would have told me before the game happened that the Baltimore Ravens would have more passing yards than the Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens would have less rushing yards than the Chiefs, and the Kansas City Chiefs would have more time of possession, not just more by like a few minutes, basically in a way of doubling their time of possession. 37 minutes to 22 minutes. If you would have told me before the game the Ravens were like 35 to 25, or even at least like 32 to 28, something like that, I would be like, yeah, I believe it. But the Chiefs having 37 to 22, that I didn't expect. But now when it comes to what exactly is causing the Ravens to lose these big games, I'm going to be honest. I feel like this one was more on the offensive coordinator. Because all season long, what have the Ravens been really good at? Solid defense, solid run game, and just control the time of possession and go out there and just beat your opponent up. Well, let's see. What did they do in this game? Well, the defense was a little bit sluggish in the first quarter. Took them a while to kind of figure things out, but by halftime, the Chiefs, they were not doing anything out there. I mean, they were moving the ball down the field, but they were not really scoring anything else after halftime. So that gets us back over to the offense. What were they doing? What is Lamar really good at doing? Read options, getting the run game moving through him and the running back. They didn't run the ball at all really in that second half. It felt like the second they went down 17-7, the offensive coordinator Tom Munka was just like, shit, we gotta throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball. And they started to do that. And what had happened? They started throwing the ball a lot. It wasn't working. Lamar started throwing picks. He started throwing the ball into triple coverage. That pick when he threw the ball to Isaiah Likely into triple coverage, what the fuck was that throw? It also just seems like in this game, they tried to make Lamar too much of what Patrick Mahomes is, like a Josh Allen is. Hell, even like a Tom Brady. They tried to make him just a pure pocket passer. And I realized in the past, we've made jokes about the running back, Lamar Jackson. We made our jokes. It's jokes. And I'm guessing Lamar Jackson took that to heart and he wanted to become a pure pocket passer in the offseason. Here's the thing. He's a good passer. I'm not saying he's not. He's a good passer. Not a great one, a good passer. The thing we wish wish he would do is he would take that good passing ability that he showed throughout the regular season, but then when it comes to the pocket collapsing or there's a lane opening and he can scramble out of there, that's when we want him to run. Or when there's a read option play or you're just doing the simple run play, but you can read the end collapsing down and they're going for that running back and you can pull it and you can run for like 20 yards, that's when we want you to run. And I feel like that's something Lamar's going to have to get better at in the offseason. He's going to have to figure out how to understand when to run and when to not to run, because there is times where he's in the pocket and he's already just bailing out and he's taking off running. Sure, he maybe gets like 10 yards out of it, but there was a 50-yard bomb throw down the field for a post route that he could have waited and chucked it down there. And then there's other times where like there's nothing open down there, but he's just sitting there bouncing around the pocket and he could run for like a first down right over here to the side, but he's not doing it because we've made our jokes about the running back and he doesn't want to be a running back. He wants to be a passer. Now, for those of you who do not know, he is currently 2-4 in his career in his postseason career. He's got 1,324 yards, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in his career with about a 75.5 passer rating. And I want you all to understand that comes along with the game when they collapsed as the 1 seed against the Titans a couple years ago. That goes with the game that we just witnessed against the Kansas City Chiefs where he put up a total of 10 points, and also the game when they played against the Buffalo Bills where he scored a total of 3 points, and I believe he went out in that game in the third quarter, fourth quarter. Ravens fans, let me know in the comments. It was either third or fourth quarter where he went out with a concussion. I think he finished the game. Let me know in the comments. But like I said, 3 points all game that they scored in that playoff game, and I believe that was in 2020. But kind of wrapping this video up, here's kind of what I'll say. I really don't know what they need for this team to succeed because they have a good defense. I think they're actually losing their defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald. He's going to be the Seahawks head coach in this offseason, so he's now gone. Their defense, I think, will still be good. They're going to be good to go. So defense, you still have it. John Harbaugh, he's still there. Great coach. Todd Monken, I think, is a good offensive coordinator. Just that game plan against the Kansas City Chiefs, that was not a good game plan. Not at all. I know we keep on saying Lamar Jackson needs better wide receivers. He needs real wide receivers. Well, you have Zay Flowers now, who I think is growing into be a very good wide receiver one. Odell was there. We'll see if he decides to sign back or not. And then Rashad Bateman, everybody talks about how he's so good and he's going to develop into being such a great wide receiver. Like I said, 1 catch, 2 yards. That ain't going to cut it. Mark Andrews is still there, so you still have a great tight end. And the offensive line, I feel like, is still playing really well. I think they're still playing good. From what I saw in the playoff games and throughout the regular season, they're playing pretty well. The AFC title game, they kind of let some pressure up. Chris Jones was making life living hell for Lamar Jackson. I think, if anything, maybe the offensive line maybe needs to be tweaked a little bit. But other than that, it's like everything is there for Lamar. Everything is there. You just need to go capitalize. In the past couple of seasons, we've always been talking about Lamar and his injuries and if he's going to be able to stay healthy. The last 2 seasons, he did not play the last 5 games of the season because of 1 year a knee injury, the next year the ankle injury, or bone bruise, I think is what he had 1 year. And last year they made the playoffs, but he did not actually play in the playoff game. Tyler Huntley ended up having to play in the playoff game. He did, I'd say okay, against the Cincinnati Bengals, but they did not win that game. Bengals won the game. And this was the year where Lamar was finally healthy. They have all the pieces. Offensive coordinator is good. Defense is good. They have receivers. They have the running back. Lamar is healthy, ready to go. They're in the AFC title game. You have the arch enemy, Patrick Mahomes, right there across the sideline. You are at your crib in M&T Bank Stadium. Everything is perfectly aligned for you to win this game and shut the haters up, and you folded. And Ravens fans, you can say all the bullshit you want. You can trash talk all you want, saying he didn't fold. This was so-and-so's fault. I already admit it. I feel like it was a little bit on the offensive coordinator's fault for calling bad plays. But here's the thing. Last time I checked, I think the quarterback can change the plays of the huddle. If he called a stupid pass play, Lamar can go out there and tell his receivers, no, don't run that route, run this route. Or if he called a pass play and he wanted to run the ball right here, let's say it's like a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, he can change the play. And Lamar can get with John Harbaugh, because John Harbaugh, I feel like, is like best buddy now with Lamar Jackson, to the point where like John is basically just going to say, I trust whatever Lamar wants to do. Whatever Lamar wants to do, I'm willing to let him do it. So he can go over and talk to John and say, hey, Coach Monken, he's being a dumbass up there. We need to tell him to stop calling this stupid shit. But I will say this. Looking at the AFC North, that's kind of the big picture that we need to look at. The Bengals, they're going to get Joe Burrow back. They're going to still be lethal in this AFC North battle. The Steelers never have a losing record. They're always going to be competitive. The Browns, we'll see kind of how they go. They just made the playoffs this past season. We'll see how they go kind of rebuilding, because I think a lot of their defensive players were on 1-year contracts. Some of the defensive guys like Maurice Hurst, Zadarius Smith, they were on 1-year contracts. We'll see how the defensive kind of goes there. And also they're replacing a lot of coaches, so we'll see how they kind of bounce back. And like I just said with the Ravens, they're going to be losing, I believe, their safeties coach and their defensive coordinator. 2 different teams, one as a head coach, one to a defensive coordinator somewhere else. And when it comes to their offense, is Odell Beckham Jr. going to sign back? Is he going to come back because he was on a 1-year deal? Well, if he comes back, that's good. If he does not come back, then we're right back to square one of Lamar don't have receivers. Well, yeah, you kind of had a receiver. And you can try to say Odell is kind of old and washed. You could try and say that, but back when you signed him, I remember hearing a lot of Ravens fans, even some of my friends who are Ravens fans, coming out saying like, oh my God, this is such a good hire. Look at this. Odell, great wide receiver. We're going to be so good next year. But I'll rest my case with this. Tom Monken, bad play calling in that game. He needs to get better. Lamar, I'm ultimately going to say this. I think he will get a title. I'm going to just go ahead and put it out now. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I'm going to say this. I feel like he will get a Super Bowl title. He will win one by the time his career is over, whether it's next year, 2 years, 5 years. I think he will get a title. I truly believe it. He's going to get a title by the time his career is done. Now, whether that's with the Ravens or somebody else, that remains to be seen. I'm just saying I feel like he will win a title. But other than that, I'm going to wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did go on to enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. If you wanted to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. And like I said, if you have a different opinion on the whole thing, if you think Lamar Jackson will get a title or will not get a title, if you think it's Todd Monken's fault they lost that playoff game, if you think the receiver's fault, Lamar's fault, whoever's fault you think it is, like I said, leave your complete opinion to everything down in the comment section down below. Be more than welcome to talk about with you guys. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. And do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Donald Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.